Hi there. Oh, something is going on here. So I'm just setting up my camera. It's a bit late. Like it's 8:30 in the Netherlands. Wow. So I feel like I'm already in this like, you know, like I'm always almost going to bed vibe. Okay, so let me just get you guys seasick for a moment. So I'm going to work with like really tiny, small canvases. So I need to figure out what's the best option. I think this is the one, and I need to figure out what lighting I should use because it's a bit, I'm not sure. I think this is okay. So it's been like forever since I last did a live stream. It's like, I felt a bit guilty because I've kind of neglected my Facebook or my social media, like fans. I'm not sure if I want to call it fans, but I've kind of neglected you because I was just so busy with my new job. So I was a bit afraid, like this nightmare thought that I would like lose all of you and I would do a live stream for like 0 people. So I'm really happy that at least some of you have found me again. So thank you. I'm going to set up my own iPad so I can actually see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to tell you what my plan is for today. Thank you, Ango. Fijn dat je er nog bent. Ja, dat snap ik, Rini. Well, the thing is with YouTube, I can explain you guys that before we start, just so you know why I've kind of decided to do it on YouTube. I can totally imagine that for a lot of you, Facebook is much easier because it's just a little bit more easy to access and you don't have to search, and not all of you have like a Google account or a YouTube account, so you have to have, you need a profile on YouTube to be able to participate in the chat room. And I can imagine that it's a bit, how do you call it? Well, not as easy. But the reason that I do this is because I have like a really big group of followers on my YouTube channel. And those people don't necessarily follow me on the rest of my social media. So to be able to reach most of you or the biggest group, it's easier to stream on YouTube, because streaming on YouTube in America is like really something that a lot of people do, and we don't really know that in the Netherlands. At least I didn't before I did it. So I think that's the reason that it's that's for me, that's the reason to stream on YouTube. So I'm glad you have found me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about more about what I'm going to do. Let's set up my iPad here. So thanks for the congrats on my new job. I felt really guilty because it was so long ago since I did a live stream, and I'm not uploading as much projects as you're used to. And this morning I woke up and I was like, oh no, I have like this really long day. I always start at 8, and well, we needed to have a meeting until 5:30, so I knew I was going to be home late, and well, you know the drill. So I kind of thought, oh, what was I thinking? But now I'm actually really happy. So I'm glad I can do an hour, no thinking about my job, nothing to do with the computer or anything, no IT whatsoever, just an hour of creative talk. About things that I really like, things that don't ask a lot of thinking. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I'm going to start now because I have talked way too much. So I kind of decided I want to show you some, just a little demonstration of the two component resin because I really, really love two component resin. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that later. I'm going to show you the Lindy's Gang squirts, which I really love, and especially for the people that think, oh, I'm not that good in sprays, or maybe are a little bit scared of sprays. Lindy's Gang squirts are a really good option because they are easy to use, but they do have the same, well, similar substance. So it's really cool. Tell you a little bit more about that later. So thanks for the thumbs up. If you haven't done that, but you like my video, please do. Hi, Helen. Thank you. I'm so happy to learn about that because I needed people like me when I started mixed media, and I'm super grateful that I can do something back to the whole crafting community. So thanks. Okay, and last but not least, I'm going to show you guys how to incorporate techniques with Lindy's Gang squirts and two component resin sculpture medium by Finnabair into a project. So I've got these cute, small little canvases, which I'm going to work with a little bit later. So I'm going to apologize upfront because this day is a day where I need to search for words like every 5 minutes. So I've got this, well, how do you call it? We call it in Dutch, we call it kortsluiting, and it's like when the electricity just have too much like electrical devices on it, and it just goes like bam. That kind of happens in my brain this day. I'm not sure how to explain this in English, but I think you get the point. So I'm going to excuse myself up front. Two component resin. So I'm using a different band than I've linked below, just because I can buy this in really big bottles and I use it a lot. But in the description box I have linked amazing casting resin, and it's the same. It's only the bottle looks a bit different. So what it is, we've got two bottles. It's two component resin, duh. And when you receive the box, you get two bottles. I think two of these small cups. And you can read in the description that you should, they recommend you to use paper cups to work with this. I once went, like I flipped it over, so I'm going to use a mat. I know what happened last time and I don't want that anymore. So excuse me for the really, really ugly looking green mat, but I don't want to use, but I need to use it. So I'm going to just put this a little bit higher if it works with me. Come on. Sorry for the wiggling, guys. Okay, so I hope this is a bit better. So here's what I do. I get myself a paper cup. We've got a B part and a part, obviously. And just make sure that there is one that kind of call it split, the two fluids kind of separate. So you need to shake the bottle a bit. And this one I just shake it. I don't think it's necessary, but I just do it. So I recommend you to use gloves if you're not sure if your skin can handle it. If you are like vulnerable to rashes and everything, I really would recommend to use gloves. And the thing is, it's really important that you mix these in a one-on-one I'm not sure how to call it in English, but you need to have the exact same amount of both of them. So I'm just going to pour this in onto 15 milliliters. And I'm going to do the same with the other one. And these bottles tend to get stuck a bit, so make sure to clean the top of your bottle. Just to make sure you get the lid open the next time you use it. Have I told you guys already? I'm really glad I can talk about these fun things. I really, really love my new job, but I'm also happy that I can just do what I love most. So this happens with the bottle when you don't clean it. And I'm just going to fill it up with the exact same amount as I did with the other one. Ja, deze moet ik je later even vertellen. Als je niet, dan moet ik even opzoeken. Okay, so I really kind of forgot that I have a chat room. And I haven't been paying attention. Okay, so yes, these molds are amazing. If you don't know them, if you're thinking, wow, what did I miss? These are molds by Finnabair and are the best molds. I think I probably haven't had one project that I didn't use them in since I have them, because these molds are so gorgeous. So now I'm just going to mix it real good. And on the description with the amazing casting resin, I think they say it's like 30 seconds. You can obviously just use 30 seconds, but I tend to mix it until I feel that the fluid is heating up. So it's actually heating itself, and that's why that's how it cures. So once the fluid is getting all transparent again, and maybe you feel that it's getting a bit warmer, you really should start pouring in the resin. So I can totally imagine that some of you might have thought, oh no, it's like chemicals and everything, but it's really, really easy. So I just pour in the medium. And depending on how exact you measure the two components, it cures really fast, like within 10 minutes or maybe a bit longer. So most of the time with me, I'm not that exact with measurements, so it sometimes just takes about 15 minutes. But like 15 minutes is so much better compared to clay or anything. So I really, really, really like this. It's so easy because when I'm kind of impulsive. So whenever I think about, oh, I'm going to create something with clay, I always felt bad because I couldn't create what I wanted because I didn't have enough clay pieces. And now that problem is totally solved. I don't really like to plan my projects. So I like the freedom you get with this. You can just decide now what you want to create and start creating within 20 minutes. So the only thing you need to keep in mind, it cures fast, so that's a good thing on one hand. But on the other hand, it's a thing that can work against you because you need to work fast. If you don't work fast enough, it'll cure in your cup and you have a lot of resin in your cup, but not in your molds. So work fast. Okay, so I'm just going to let this stay here for just a while. And tell you a little bit more about my Lindy's Gang squirts. So I need to really carefully get this to the side. I hope that'll work without overflowing them. I hope they cured a little bit just, yeah, they did. So that's awesome. They already start curing. So maybe I can do this. I'm going to keep this here so you can watch the process of curing with the resin. Just because that's fun. So, me and the rest of the Lindy's gang girls get quite a lot of questions about how to fill your Lindy's gang sprays and squirts, because there are different different how do you call it, different ways just circling around the internet. So on one part you will find people saying no, you have to do it with cold water, and the other ones say no, you have to do it with hot water. So there are a lot of ways, and I'm not sure if there's a one good way, but there is one that really is recommended by Lindy's gang, by the brand itself. And that is the one that I like to show you, because that's the one that I always use too. So do you see what happens here? It's just turning white. So it's curing at the moment. Really cool. Oké, so ja, dat is zeker zo, Shandy. Ze zijn wel grote, ja. Ik ga je er later meer over vertellen. Okay, so I did fill up these already. So there are 10 colors of squirts. So I did keep these two empty just to show you guys how I fill them. And the fun thing is with squirts that they have a different lid. As you can see, they don't have a spray lid. They have a, how do you call this lid? It's similar to the glue bottles. So you turn it a bit and it opens just a little bit, and you can turn it even further or open it further, and that way you can easily decide on whether to use a lot of ink or not as much ink. So one thing that won't happen with squirts, which is something that I really like, is they really can't get clogged. How do you call it? If Lindy's gang, the sprays can get clogged that fast. If they do, you need to fill the spray cap, the spray, just the thing where you spray with warm water, just to see if that solves the problem. But if it keeps clogging, you can easily just contact the store where you bought them, or contact Lindy's, because they shouldn't clog. But there's always a chance they will. With the squirts, you don't have this because you don't have like the spray cap. Yeah, Wendy, Untitled team. Yeah. So Wendy's asking if there are more colors or just these 10, and there are 10 at the moment, but you'll never know what will happen in the future. So we've got 10, but yeah, well, that it's not necessarily said that they will stay with a group of 10, but maybe they do. I don't know, but it'll be a surprise. So for now there are 10. You can buy them in sets of 5, or you can buy them separate, just whatever. I included all the links. I'm not going to demonstrate all the colors because I already did that in a live stream, so you can search for the stream in my playlist of live streams, just to prevent me from like repeating myself. That's a good question, Shandy. I'm not sure. You should try that, but I don't know. I'm not sure on the how the powder in the squirts will react to alcohol. So I'm not sure. You could try it, definitely, but I haven't tried it. So with the filling, as you can see, if you buy them, this is the same with the sprays. On the label, you'll see a little fill thing. Fill thing. You of course, a filling. But this is just a mark that you know how far you need to fill them. It's the same with the sprays, so that is just, yeah, you can just use that with your sprays too. But the skirts come with a cap. I'm going to get this out because I like to work with just the open cap, but I know there are people just that let these in the bottles and just make a hole in them. But that's just, yeah, well, you can just decide for yourself if you want to do that or not. I don't necessarily think that's an easy thing, so I just get them out and work with them without these little seals. Seals? Seal is an animal. Yes, Alan, these are really different. Yeah. Yeah, so with the flat Fabios and the Starburst, you have a spray cap, and these are really different. Yes. But you could maybe even use a spray cap on skirts and the other way around. But the only thing with the skirts is that the powder in them or the substance is a little bit thicker. So that's something to keep in mind when you work with them, because if you're going to try and spray with them, it might not work. So I didn't try that. So I'm using warm water. So it depends a little on the water hardness or the quality of your tap water, if you can use tap water, or that you're better off using bottled water. But I would recommend you to boil your water at first either way. Whether you're using bottled water or just tap water, I would just be sure, better safe than sorry, and boil it first. That way your water is as clean as possible, and then just let it sit for a while so it can cool down a bit. Well, to lukewarm water. Yeah, I think it's lukewater now. Although I wouldn't dare to stick my finger in it. I think it's quite hot still. Just get the cap on. So now I'm just going to let them sit for a while, but to make sure that the powder will really mix with the water, I'm going to just give it a quick stir. Not too long. Just a little quick stir, just to get the powder that is a bit stuck to the bottom. Just loosen up a bit, and I will do the exact same thing with the other one. So, has anybody paid attention to what was happening next to me with the mold? Isn't it so cool? I'm just giving it a quick stir. So if you like my videos, please do a thumbs up, guys. No thumbs down, please. Oh well. So make sure that you have the lid closed, because I once started to shake my bottles before the lid was closed. So I'm just going to set these aside for a bit to make them really mix well. I think, yeah, these are probably already cured. Maybe not. No, I just need to wait a little bit longer. So this is what happens when you don't measure as exact as you should be. So it's not a big disaster if you don't measure them right, but try to be exact as possible, because otherwise the curing will take a bit longer. So let's get rid of that ugly, ugly mat. So the other thing that I'm going to use is sculpture medium. Sculpture medium is a medium by Finnabair, and I'm going to take a sip of my drink. And you can compare it to mediums like Stiffy or Hard Sealer or maybe textile stiffener, stuff like that. So it stiffens your fabric. And I've demonstrated it before, but I like it so much, so I'm going to do it just again because I can and I like it. So with these two, I'm going to first add a layer of white gesso. Just because I like to work with white gesso and I don't use like really expensive canvases, and I don't really like to trust on the primer layer that is already on top. And because I'm going to work with my Lindys, I don't want to risk that the ink will get sucked into the canvas right away. So that would be just a waste. I'm just going to add a quick layer of white gesso. Thank you, Miriam. I really enjoy doing these live streams because I know that there are people from all around the world. And that's something that I always like to think of when I'm doing these streams, because it really creates such a feeling of togetherness, and it's a really positive vibe. So thank you for being here. So this hobby really really gave me some friends around the world, and I think that's really a good thing. So last year, at the beginning of this year, I met up with Patricia, and Patricia is living in South Africa. So how awesome is it that you go on holiday to South Africa, like I don't know how many kilometers from here, and you meet up with a friend, somebody that you've known for a while on the internet. I think that's really cool, and you share like the same interest and the same passion for creative stuff and being creative and create things, and I really think that's awesome. Okay, so should I get gloves? I'm not sure. Well, I think I should set a good example. So I'm going to get gloves. Oh well. I'm not sure if I need to, but yes, Maria, that's really true. It's so cool to know that you have like people from all around the world that really care about you, and that you care about. I think that's really awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut some of these pieces of lace to add them to my canvases. Where's my scissors? So I'm going to make them a bit longer so I can glue them on the back of the canvas. I'm not sure why I'm doing this with gloves, because that wouldn't be necessary. But oh well, I'm doing it anyway. So I always like to create sets of projects, so 2 canvases, for instance. But it's always a fun challenge to create something similar, that it's obviously that they should be together, and they are like a combination of 2. But it's fun to challenge yourself and create similar things, but not the same. Sometimes I say these things and I'm like, wow, I really hope you guys understand what I mean. Okay, so here it is. So you can use this in like different ways, but I like to just get some of this medium on top just rub it in a bit, and just use my gloves to really soak in the pieces of fabric. And adhere them to the canvas. So keep in mind that it isn't a glue, but it works a bit similar. So these pieces of lace won't come off after the sculpture medium dries. So the fun thing is with this, this technique creates a non-flexible finish, and I think that is really awesome. So when this dries, it really dries stiff. So if you're using things like waxes or anything on top, you will see you can create like these really stunning effects on top of your lace because it's stiff. So it works a bit, it creates texture, just the same as that modeling paste does. So I'm just rubbing it in, making sure the pieces of lace are really soaked. And you could also just put some medium in your hands, roll the lace in your hands just to get it really soaked. There are all different techniques to use this, but it doesn't really matter how you do it. So just getting that lid on, just to make sure they stick to my canvas. It's a piece of just a little bit of glue. I really should get a new glue gun. There's really, like, my glue is yellow. I think the nozzle is has a bit of some rust on it, yeah. Look at this nozzle. That's not okay. I really should get a new one. But I'm still deciding on whether what one I should get. I think the Sizzix will be my number one. So here it is. Just doing a quick dry with my heat tool. Get rid of those ugly gloves. And you can dry this with your heat tool. I'm just drying it a little bit and then setting them aside and work on the rest. But it'll dry on with the heat tool, so that's a good thing. Okay, so set these aside. So I was in doubt whether I should use some modeling paste or one of the texture pastes, but I really like the way they are right now, so I'm just keeping them this way. Okay, so I now found out that my hands are like looking, they're looking like I have been under like a sun studio tanning thing for way too long. My hands aren't that dark. Okay, so that looks weird. Okay, so look at this. I'm not sure how long it took, but they are finished in, now seconds is a bit exaggerated, but they are fast with curing. So how awesome is this? They are super detailed. You don't have the hassle with clay and waiting for 24 hours. Oh yes, I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and sometimes waiting even longer if you don't have clay that cures fast. So you don't have that problem anymore. So 2-component resin. Buy it. Not necessarily because I want you to, but I really would recommend you to go and buy this. It is amazing. I'm not going to use clay anymore. I kind of decided to do a how do you call it, a boycott on clay. It's like a demonstration. Okay, so now I'm just loosely translating Dutch word into English, and that doesn't work. So forget what I said. Okay. I actually made some stars to use. I think this is okay. Yes. So I'm just putting these away. And returning to my skirts. So this isn't listening to what I want. Let's see if this is already drying. Yes, a bit. I'm just going to work on these. So I thought I could show you guys how to work with Opal Magic paints by Finnabair on light backgrounds, because I know that I mostly tell you guys to buy metallic colors or just the other paints like sparks and anything if you like to work on white backgrounds. The reason that I do that is that Opal Magic paints don't have a like really high visibility on lighter backgrounds, but they are pretty. And some of the colors are really gorgeous on lighter backgrounds. So I'm just going to demonstrate that. I haven't linked them in the description box because I only just decided to go and show you guys these right before I started. I'm going to work with pink blue and I have this like favorite color of mine I was looking for, so that is rose gold. I'm going to work with these two and some sparks. Really like to show you guys the sparks because these are so super gorgeous. But what color? Blue. This is a heavy pink. Okay. Yeah. It's a nice color, but it's a bit too bright. Yes, this one. Maybe even the older sparks, that would be cool. I can do the older sparks. Yeah. I'm going to go with the golden oldies. So let's see. How did I thought of a order. Yes. So first do the wings. So I'm using rose gold, and the fun thing is with Opal Magic paints that they are really cool on dark backgrounds. So the color of Opal Magic paints changes on dark backgrounds. So just to show you guys how this works, this is rose gold. So as you can see, it's gold and it's rose. I really like to use these on dark backgrounds, but lately I'm using them also on the lighter backgrounds, just because it's a really nice almost golden glow. And I like the pastel colors and everything, so the softer colors. And this is a really cool soft color. So I hope you can see that in the lighting. Yeah, you can. So it's a pink golden color. Maybe I should just use these. Yeah. I'm going to go for not too many different colors, because I like to demonstrate you guys how to work with the skirts. And if I work with the skirts and with maybe 2 or 3 or maybe even more colors of paint, it will be just a really chaotic kind of project, and that is not what I was aiming for. Just getting some paint on here. So as you can see, the paint doesn't really covers that well, but I need to say that that is a thing that also is a little bit of my fault, because I haven't used any like gesso or whatever on top or at first. So if you want to have a really good coverage the first time, but maybe only the second time, you will need to use some sort of gesso. But I was already painting, so I was starting to paint and I was like, oh, I should have used gesso. But I'm just going to paint 2 layers and that's okay. So these wings are a mold too, also by Prima Marketing. So all the pieces that I'm using here are by Prima or Finnabair. But that's a bit the same. So I'm also going to use mid-form castings, which are like these really, really gorgeous metal castings. It's a Polish company, but they are selling at local craft stores more and more. So if you want to learn more about their the shops where you can buy their castings, just visit their Facebook page, and I think on their Facebook page there will be a list on where to buy the castings. So these are old paints. Yeah, well, old. These are like the first series of sparks, but I still really like these because these are more softer colors. So the new sparks were like really vibrant and they are awesome and beautiful, but I really like to use some muted colors too. So these are just perfect. So I kind of forgot that my star was going to be my focal point. So I need to use my sparks on it, because I wanted to do these the focal points, so the big star and the small moon phase, or the moon phase, as my focal points. So I'm going to paint them in a slightly different color, just so they will draw the attention a bit more. So these colors are really cool together. It's a really cool combination. So I will add the links from these paints after I finish the stream. So if you'd like to learn more about the different colors, just visit the the video a bit later today, so you can find out the new links. So just adding a second layer to get it a bit more covered. Going to do the same with the star and with the rest. So how come that you guys are so quiet? Nobody's talking. So, or there can be two things. Or maybe you guys have forgot that you were watching the stream and are doing all different things, like being watching things on Netflix. Or you are just paying really good attention and just are watching like really concentrated and just concentrated, focused. And you kind of forget to type anything. So I'm just giving you some entertainment while you're doing your taxes. Shopping, okay. I have a bad influence. But shopping is good for you. Okay, so that is weird. I'm just laughing at what happens in the chat, but I know that when people watch this stream later, I'm pretty sure they don't get to see what happened in the chat room. So then they will be watching it, and I'm just like in the middle of the video, and those people will not know that I just laughed about something that that somebody said in the chat. So that would be awkward. Oh, look at my hands. It's all colored. Okay. So, let's get these aside. So it's fun because the beginning of this month I did a demo day, as how we call it, at Hobby Vision. That's a quite big craft store here in the Netherlands. So I met up with Charlene. Wow. Something with English and Dutch and all together, but we met. So I really like the fact that Holland is a small country, so it's really easy to meet up with each other. Yes, these Finnabair paints are just gorgeous. I know. So all of them are, even if you don't necessarily are a big fan of a typical typical color like this one. I'm not really into the orangey and the red, but look at this color. I even want to use this because it's just gorgeous. But I don't even like this color usually. But okay, so this has dried almost. Not as good as I hoped. Let's get some gesso on it. So you could decide to just skip the gesso when you're working with the sculpture medium and with lace, because it really can give you a pretty effect when you're using ink on top of these pieces of lace. But as I said earlier, I don't want my ink to just get sucked in the canvas and in the fabric, so I'm just adding a layer of gesso. Yes. Yes, but that day was like really awesome because we were with this really great big group of creative souls, and it was so much fun. So I think this is about enough. So I'm trying to decide on what color I should use with my skirts. So I'm using blue and pink, and I think I'm just going to use a fairly safe combination. Just pinks and blue. So that's something that you can keep in mind if you're having some difficulties deciding on what color you should use. Because if you just stay in like the same color group, so blues or pinks or reds or oranges, and just like mix up the different shades or the different tones of color. I hope I'm explaining it the right way. But like with the light orange and a dark orange and a middle orange, and yeah, you know what I mean. It's really easy to play around with colors, but it's also really safe because you can't really mess up combination if you're using the same color group. So just keep that in mind if you're having difficulties deciding on what color to use. So I'm going to do a blue one and a pink one. There is one color that is like my favorite, and that is Canadian Bacon Blush, which is a really cool color. And I'm going to demonstrate you why I think this is so awesome. In the meantime, I'm trying it. But Canadian Bacon Blush is a coral pinkish kind of ink, but with a very cool and awesome golden sheer or shimmer. And that is something that I really like. So just to show you how it actually looks. Look at this, guys. So I hope you can see the shimmer. I just keep saying sheer. Shimmer. It's golden. I think this is really cool. So I'm going to use that one and maybe just add a little bit of shading. No, not even. And I'm going to do a blue one. And that is my second favorite color. What a coincidence. And this is Looney Toony Teal. Yes, Sharon. Cool is just the word for it. It just describes it in a perfect way. It's so cool. We were just going wild when we found out about these colors, because there were some colors that we really like asked for, and it was so awesome to see them in a set like this. And these colors are just like, you can hardly imagine it's even possible. So I really like that. And I'm going to use Looney Toony Teal, which is a teal color, but with a purple shimmer. How awesome is that? Look at this. So I hope you can see it on the paper towel. It's a bit dark now, but it'll be a bit lighter when I'm working with it. But teal with a blue shimmer. So how cool is this? It's turning out a bit too dark, but you will see it's really awesome. So let's work. Wow! So this happens when you shake the bottle without just closing the lid. So guys, please close the lid. So the fun thing is, what I told earlier that it's this lid. With this lid, you can decide on whether to use a lot of ink or not as much. So I opened it like halfway, I think, and just releasing some of the ink, and it really comes out with nice and even drops of ink. And then I just spray some water on it. And this is just one technique. You can use them in all kind of forms or techniques, or you can brush it on, or you can use it however you like, but this is something that I really like to do. Just adding a bit more and not diluting it, so you get some different shades of pink. And I'm just turning and twisting the canvas just to make sure it will flow a bit and spreads across the canvas. So you can see that the lace is like a really cool effect. So now I'm using a wet baby towel, baby wipe, to get rid of some of the excess paint, because I wanted to go for a more pastel effect and not as bright as it was. So by using a wet baby wipe, you kind of get to dilute the paint even more, which is a bit different than when you're using paper towels. Okay, so I really think this is boring. I'm going to use a second color. So now I'm using Polite People Purple, which is a purple color, obviously, with a gold shimmer. This is so cool. This is so cool. I really like the effect on the lace. It's gorgeous. And I'm just quite careful with the water because it spreads so easily, and I don't want to mess up the effect because I really like the way it looks right now. Look at this. This is so gorgeous, and it's so easy. Even if you're just starting out with mixed media, this is a technique you can do. So blending it all together, just getting the sides, because otherwise I would have like white sides and only color on the front. So this is one canvas, and I'm now going to switch to the other one. Yes, and it's so easy, Maria. It's like you can't even think of something that is easier to do. And of course we do like challenges, but they don't have to be like really great and awesome, and it doesn't have to be that difficult all the time to be beautiful. So squirts come in bottles with a little metal ball in them, just to make sure that the powder dissolves within the water. And now I'm just going to do the same as I did with the other canvas, just adding some drops, making sure it gets spread across the whole canvas. I just sprayed my iPad. So that wasn't a smart thing to do. So by using water, you do have to keep in mind that the effect of the shimmer will be toned down as well. So if you like the shimmer, just use it without any water, because you will see that the shimmer will be a little less visible using this much water. I really like the effect of my lace. It's gorgeous. This is so cool. So now I'm going to use a blue one, which is called Banff Blue, and I'm really not sure why it's called this way or what it means. But these are all the names are based on something Canadian. So it sure will mean something, but I'm not sure what it means. And now I'm going to do the same thing, just add a darker color in the middle. Just be careful with spraying it. This runs really cool. Look at the way it flows. It's really cool. It's actually the first time I think that I'm experimenting with sculpture medium and lace and Lindy's. But I really am enjoying this technique. It's easy and it looks pretty, and yeah, I think this is a good one to keep in mind. So making sure to everything, but oh well, I'm going to do with my heavy gel just to set a good example. I was going to explain how I wanted to use my glue gun, but I do recommend you not to use your glue gun, but that is kind of complicated. So I'm just going to set a good example and use my heavy gel. But that means I need to dry it first, like really good, because otherwise the gel would just be a bit of a hassle to use. I really like this. This is just gorgeous. This is so cool. And two totally different colors, or canvases even, but with exactly the same technique. How cool is that? I'm going to add some sisal fiber. I thought it could be fun to add a bit of this. Hey, Kristen. Hi, how are you? I kind of missed you. Thanks. I try my best. So Nikki, my boyfriend, had this like intern course. Like he went to this place for 4 days, slept there. It had a hotel, and he was like drilled on his English from like 8 in the morning to 8:30 in the evening. And now his English is better than mine. But we were at this party last week, and we were at a wedding, and one of the guests, we were like in this conversation with them, and she moved to Wales when she was 17 or something, and met her husband there, and they got married, and she lived there ever since. She was now 32, I think, the same age as me. And her husband was like, where are you guys from? He talks like English without an accent. And I was really jealous. Yes, his English turned out so good. But he also told me it was really tough. Because it were like these long days, and yeah. Thank you. I need to have a new glue stick. Let's get it. Oh, I haven't put any... Okay, wow. What is happening here? I need some sizzle, otherwise it won't match anymore. And yes, Sharon, we just can't live without a glue gun. We just can't. So today I'm working at a, how do you explain it in good English? It's a organization that provides housing facilities for people with disabilities. I hope that sounds a bit right. So people with things like Down syndrome and autism and, well, that kind of learning disabilities too. And we were at this, okay, so I'm really making it myself difficult to tell you guys about this, but we were at this workshop where these people get to work. And I'm not sure if you have an English term for it, but the clients that the organization I work for have group homes for, they have workplaces too. I hope that makes sense. So we went there and they had a silhouette cameo. So I was like, wow, I have the same thing in my home. So the lady that was working there was like, oh, that's so cool. It's such a great machine. And we were just babbling about the creative things that you can create. But I work at a IT department, so my coworkers were like, oh, not again. So I kind of decided I'm going to just work there every now and then. Just get my laptop there and just work there. That would be fun. Okay, so I still have, I kind of, it's just a bit too much, I think, all those elements. But we'll figure out a way. A travel blog, that is cool. I don't get to travel that much. Okay, I want to color these just to make them a bit more matching with the rests. Where is my H brass? My favorite color. I think most of you are like, oh no, not again. H brass, always H brass. Cindy, you need to come up with something new. But it's just my favorite wax. I just can't work with anything else. I can, but this is just the best. I really like this. I'm going to skip the rest of the stars, I think. So these stars are the new Christmas winter release by Midform Castings. But you can easily use them on whatever project you make, of course, so that's cool. Ah, that's cool. I kind of forget that I own a blog. It's just not a lot of people use blogs anymore. It's all social media and, well, Instagram gets used a lot. But I don't have that much visitors on my blog anymore. So how am I going to do this? Just first add these. These gears are so cool. I always use them on my projects. They are so cool and they are very detailed and just really pretty. So usually I wouldn't go for 2 gears because I like to use 3 or an uneven number, but my canvases are too small, so I just need 2. And I thought I could make it match a bit better with adding stars. Nah. Maybe I should use smaller gears. I could do that. I'm just going to use some smaller gears. This is looking really organized. This is the only thing in my whole room that is really organized. No, that's not true. My studio is the only room in the house that is organized. But I bet a lot of you can relate to that. Or maybe not. We should do a show us your craft room stream or something. I did recorded some of my craft room tour stuff, but I haven't had enough time to edit it yet. But there is a studio tour on its way. Oh, look at this. This is so cool. And now I'm just... Oh. I'm working, but I'm not paying attention on it because now I'm just adding a different color on top of my wings. I'm not sure what I did, but just fixing that mistake. No, I can't fix it anymore. Okay, so that wasn't really smart. I just keep it this way. It's okay. You have this saying in creativity, there are no mistakes, or in art there is no such thing as mistakes. So we don't do mistakes. Yes, I'm thinking of glitter too. Yes, I'm probably going to do that. Yeah. Or maybe some flakes. Let's see what kind of glitter. I have like this really cool Finnabair set. So this is cool. And I like this. Yes. These two. So some soft gel. If you're ever running into the problem that your lids get stuck, just use your heat tool to warm it up a bit and it will be so much easier to open them. Yeah, but Sharon, it's quite challenging for me to work on such small canvases because I always like to go wild with all the elements and all the textures, and this is quite challenging. So another tip, while I'm on it anyway, if you experience that your paints are drying, so your acrylics, like these little bottles by Finnabair, just add a few drops of water or spray a little water in them with the spray bottles and add some glycerin. Just set it aside for maybe a day or maybe 2 days. Give it a good stir. Set it aside, and just let the magic happen. It will definitely work. I did that with these paints. This one was almost dried up and it's really fluid again. So keep that in mind. You don't have to throw away your paints. So I just added some soft gloss gel. Just the first thing that was around. And you got an Apple Watch? That is really cool. And congratulations, of course. So maybe it's just a little bit too much glitter, but there is no such thing as too much glitter. Not in my life. They are really perfect for Christmas. Yeah, you should definitely try that at first. Oh. So the fun thing is that I said I was going to set a good example and use my heavy gel. And what did I do? I didn't use my heavy gel. I used my glue gun. So where did that go wrong? I was just chatting and everything, and now I forgot I would use my heavy body gel. So I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little. I don't really like the way that it spreads right now, so I'm just going to work a bit with my brush. So now it's spreading a bit more even. So I know in the next few days, people will think when they see me, you're not using your heavy body gel. What are you doing? So please don't give me a thumbs down for it. Yes, this is definitely better. But I'm not going to do that with the other one because I really like the combination, ow, of the golden glitter. But this was a bit too bright or too heavy, or yes. And I want to do something more. Yes, I'm going to add my H-Brass. Of course, she's going to add H-Brass. I am so predictable. I bet some of you were thinking, hey, she didn't use that much H-Brass. So now it is better. I'm not going to do that on the other one because the other one is just perfect the way it is. And just adding a few drops, of course, just because I like Nuvo drops. Yeah, well, the problem is with H-Brass that it's like almost constantly sold out. So I think Prima Marketing will come up with a new batch, but I'm not sure. Just well, watch the internet very closely and hopefully it will get available soon. I'm going to add drops. Yes, waxes are so awesome. I think waxes are one of the first mediums. Yeah, were definitely my first, well, mediums that I bought that were fabricated by Finnabair or were by Finnabair, and I was like instantly in love with them. Just, it's the way they work and they're easy and they always do what you want and they're really gorgeous. And if you just aren't that happy with a project, waxes can even fix it for you. So just a couple of drops, nothing fancy. Okay, so I got scared for a little because my alarm went off and I was like, oh no, that alarm needs to get up, wow, I need to stop the alarm. But then you guys, or my YouTube app closed, so I was a bit afraid I've lost you, but you are still here. Okay, so I'm not necessarily liking that one. I'm going to get rid of that one. It's just a bit too much. So the fun thing with drops, as you can see, if you're on time, you can get rid of your drop. I have done this so many times. So that's a really good thing with these. They're water soluble, so it's quite easy to fix them if you need to. So I'm not going to do anything more with these. Okay, I can see that the lighting is not like really good, so I hope I can show you how they turned out a bit better later on when I have some photographs. But here it is. Let's get this little thingy out of the way here. Like this. Yes, they are a bit too bright. Let's see if I can fix it, because I really like to show you guys the way these colors work together. So maybe I can do something about the filter that I'm using. Yes, I think this is the best. So I'm just keeping my phone in my hand. So as you can see, these colors just match up perfectly. And this one is even better, I think. I really like the combination of these colors. So just a lot of people wonder if like creators like myself don't ever make mistakes. But you should know that with these, I am already thinking by myself, what did I do wrong here? So just for a little inspiration, guys, please don't be insecure about making mistakes or not being really satisfied with what you've created, because it should be fun. And it shouldn't be something that makes you feel insecure or makes you feel like you doubt yourself, or, you know, we can beat ourselves up when we create. I think we all can. But please remember that you shouldn't do that, because everything that you create is something that you do, and it really is something that comes from the heart and is, as I speak for myself, if I'm creating, I'm like the purest form of myself, or the purest version of myself. And that is something that you should feel happy about and not insecure. So please don't feel insecure about yourself. Everything that you create is just awesome because because of the fact that you created it. So I'm done speeching, but please remember that. Okay, so guys, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, this is like really annoying. I'm I'm keeping my phone in my hand. But if you have any questions, or you like to learn a bit more about a technique or whatever, just leave me a comment in the, below the video. If you have any other questions, just leave a comment. If you aren't following me on social media just yet, and you like to, you can find me under CreativeCins, just everywhere. On Instagram, on Facebook, and well, just give a thumbs up, give a like, and I'm really grateful for that. Thank you for watching. Have a great day or evening or night, or sleep tight, or have a fantastic day. Just wherever you are. And I really hope to see you guys next time with my new videos or my live streams. Thanks for watching.